It's always nice when you see your face come up that big. Here we go. Let's get everybody in here. Hi, families. Welcome. Trying to get everybody out of the waiting room and into the chat and chill. Hi, everyone. So good.
Hi, Miss Strong. How you doing?
Hi, doing well. How are you?
We're okay. We're hanging in. They're dying for school to start again.
We are right there with you. We have never missed your children so much in our whole lives. And we miss them pretty regularly, but this has just reached another level of crazy.
Well, that's good then.
We are all ready to be back together again. So thanks everyone for joining. I'm gonna keep clearing out the waiting room, and now I'm gonna adjust it so that I turn that feature off so people can join us. Give me a second to remind myself how to do that, because all the tech is still new. I'm gonna close that part. Let's see, and all right, let's admit everybody. Oh, this is awesome. I'm so excited to see so many popping in. Get everybody in here. Turn off this waiting room. Oops. Thanks for your patience, everyone. Give me one more second while I try to get everybody in here. Awesome. Right. Here we go. All right, I think I got everybody in here. Hi again, good to see ya. Miss Colgan, I know you're in here and you are like one of our resident Zoom experts. Can you come off mute and remind me how I can disable this waiting room? Because I cannot seem to find the button.
Yeah, there should be a little manage participants. If you press the 3 dots on that box, it should pop up a little menu that says like enable waiting room. Click that and it will disable it because it's probably already clicked.
Okay. That's what I thought. Ha! I found it. It's down over here on the bottom. It was hiding from me.
I'm sure everybody's talking about my hair. It's Wacky Tacky Wednesday, y'all.
Oh, that's right.
Thank you. Thank you. So,
Hi, Wanda. Tell Emma I said hi.
Wanda, you are super fly.
Facts.
I'll match you in my wacky tacky ways, though.
Thank you. I'll let her know.
Now.
She got her phone taken away for a couple of days.
That's right. I can tell you, I'll tell you offline what she did.
She told me.
Oh, fun stuff. Awesome. Well, I'm so excited to see everyone here. It is Wacky Wednesday. I don't normally wear Pez on my head. But you know, when it's Wacky Tacky Day, we got to do what we got to do. So happy that you could all join us. We do have Miss Colgan and Miss McCullough, as well as Miss Lopez, on the call with us today. They're going to help me monitor the chat feed while we go through our presentation, and we will I will start sharing my screen with you in about 2.5 seconds. Hi, Miss Fleming. I see you've got a raised hand. You want to come?
Hi. Yes. Hi, everybody. I just wanted to ask really quickly before you get started. Samara, I just received that Samara was showing that she was not in attendance this morning, and she was, and I had interrogated her to ask her if she had signed in, and she said she did. And then previously, I got something that had to do with the report, the daily report, and that her history stuff wasn't turned in. I interrogated her again. She said she turned everything in. Ms. Swap said to her, I didn't get it from Ms. Swap personally, that there was some type of error. And if that was the case, so be it. But as far as today is concerned, since I just got the Power School for attendance, who will Samara reach out to have that corrected?
That is a great question. So I would say emailing her point of contact. So whoever her POC is that's been reaching out to you, emailing that person directly and letting them know so that they can flag it for our attendance team and get that taken care of.
Okay,
Awesome. Thank you for flagging that for us.
thank you.
Absolutely.
Oh, I'm sorry, and emails are still not working. So like when I get something in email, I can't forward it over to Samara. It bounces back still.
Got it. Can you just put that as well in the email to the POC and also just in our chat feed so that Ms. Lopez and I can follow up with you again with IT support so that we can get that fixed?
Sure, thanks.
Yeah, they should be able to handle that for us. All right, everyone. So welcome. We're going to go ahead and get started. It's great to see all of you, even if it's virtually, on this Wacky Wednesday, Wacky Tacky Wednesday. So just a little preview of our agenda. We're going to have a reminder of our Zoom norms for the meeting. We will have a joy factor, and hopefully I can figure out how to get that tech to work. Otherwise, we'll be joyful and struggle through it together, and I appreciate your grace and patience. I'm going to share some student highlights, and also at that point, if grade team leaders want to share some specific grade level highlights, I welcome you, Ms. McCullough and Ms. Colgan, to share anything specific for 5th and 8th grade. Then we'll go over just some academic updates and reminders, some culture updates and reminders, and then we will have some time for Q&A at the end to address any concerns that you specifically want to talk about that may not be included in the slide deck. So our Zoom norms, we make sure that all our meetings are password protected. And they are only shared with people who are invited to the meeting. That's why you get them via email and via our private page for our families on Facebook. Everyone should have the ability to unmute themselves, but everybody is muted when they initially come in to help us just control what's going on. And we make sure that we've got some staff members that are able to monitor the chat stream while we go through the call to make sure that we're addressing concerns. With our Zoom account, the chat stream is also like recorded within the video recording of this call so that we can follow up with people. And just so everyone knows, I am recording the Zoom so that I can share it with families who can't attend. And so if you have any concerns about being on video wearing an amazing Pez hat while being recorded, you're welcome to just disable that camera function on your screen, and then it won't show anything of you while we're in the call. While we're going through the presentation, you can definitely use the raise a hand function if you have a question during the presentation, knowing that we will have that Q&A time at the end. But if you've got something that you really don't understand as we're going, you're welcome to use that function. And then you can definitely also use the chat feed to type questions. The rest of the staff that are on the call will help respond to those in the moment. And then if there are questions that they can't respond to in the moment that are in the chat feed, we'll go over those when we get to that Q&A section of the meeting. Awesome. So here's where I am hoping that you'll be able to hear the sound that comes from my computer. If not, I'm going to send you a link so that you can listen to this. But we are super excited to share that we typically, Public Prep Network has a fundraising gala every year. And this year we were unsure what that was going to look like amidst COVID-19. Our network will be hosting a fundraising gala, a virtual fundraising gala that is going to be a live stream interview with tennis superstar and Girls Prep Lower East Side Elementary namesake Billie Jean King. And we're super excited to have this opportunity and have our namesakes involved. And Serena Williams actually videotaped a message for Girls Prep in anticipation of this event. So I am hoping that when I hit play and this starts, you can also hear it on your end. Miss McCullough, I can see your face right now in my little stream. I'm peeping on you. So can you just give me a thumbs up if you can hear it, so you can be my tech monitor.
Hey everyone, it's Serena here. As a fellow classroom
I see a thumbs down. I'm calling in my resident expert, Ms. Colgan again. Ms. Colgan, is there an easy fix for audio that I can use while we're on the call?
There is. If you hover up at the top, you should be able to see video, like share screen settings, and there should be a share sound.
Share computer sound.
Yes.
Thank you. If I had $1 million, I'd give it to you. All right, we're going to start over. She's also a little soft-spoken in the video, so I'm going to turn the volume up as loud as it goes.
Hey everyone, it's Serena here. As a fellow classroom namesake at Girls Prep, I'm so honored to be sending this message in support of Billie Jean King. Billie Jean King is, of course, a champion on and off the court and a fitting role model for nearly 2,000 young boys and girls within the Public Prep network. Her inspiration, her ongoing inspiration seems to never really stop. And the work that Public Prep is doing is so crucial, particularly at this unprecedented time. So to the teachers and the leaders that are doing amazing work to ensure the school and the scholars remain able to have a way to learn and their families are supported, I would like to say thank you. On behalf of Public Prep, I would like to thank you for your generosity and support. And we can't wait to see you for the live stream interview with Billie Jean on May 7th. Bye.
We got a shout out from Serena Williams. So exciting. Just so exciting. So one thing that we're also working on during this time is really our network's doing a lot of outreach to our namesakes, particularly while they're also at home dealing with COVID, saying, hey, don't you want to just send an inspirational message? We've got all these students that, you know, are looking up to you. So we are hopeful that we get a lot more messages of support from our namesakes, but I just wanted to share that with you all because I was starstruck and really excited to hear that message from Serena Williams for our school. Awesome. So student highlights. We've had teachers going on every morning meeting. We have a meeting at 8 o'clock all together, and everyone has been sharing joy factors, things to uplift the community in the morning. And we had a lot of student shout outs happening, and I wanted to bring some of those to the party today. So this is a shout out from this morning. Miss Den shared work from Mia Kay in 5th grade. This is incredible digital artwork that she's been producing during the closure. This is 100% original. None of that portrait was traced. Miss Den kind of laughed and chuckled, but said she ran the image through Google search engine for images to just see, does this exist somewhere? And it doesn't. This is, you know, her total original creation. And so just wanted to showcase Mia and share with you all some of the incredible work that scholars are doing in art class. Petals is alive and well, and we are really, really proud of the work that they're accomplishing today and every day. I'm going to see if I can get this out of, back into regular presentation mode. There we go. There was also a poetry highlight that I wanted to put in that I apparently forgot to put in there, which is a bummer. I will go back and add it in. The other thing that has been shared recently that is really exciting as we round out Poetry Month is student poetry that they've been writing. Tomorrow morning, we'll be celebrating some 8th graders with their original poetry. I got to read some of it today. There was a particularly moving poem written by Aaliyah Ferreira, one of our 8th graders, that really is, it's really, really powerful to read. So I will make sure that that gets to you since it is not yet in this slide deck. But wanted to just pause. Miss Colgan, do you mind coming off mute and just sharing some 5th grade highlights from this week?
Yeah, 5th grade highlights definitely up there is MA getting 100% submission on one of their History Exit tickets. That was extremely exciting to see. 5th grade recess has been happening all week and it has been so much fun. We did karaoke today. I know they played some games with Miss Strong yesterday, and we did some workout dance videos on Monday. And then there's just been an overflow of shout outs of students' engagement. Jaylene, Amaya, we have Khalees, Zadia. We've had so much participation. Some of them are even just jumping up and leading students through small group lessons for study hall, and it's just amazing.
Yeah, 5th grade recess was a highlight of my week for sure. We played Pictionary via Zoom. They teach me all kinds of things. We had a lovely time, those 5th grade nuggets. Miss McCullough, do you want to come off and just share some 8th grade, 8th grade highlights from this week?
Miss Walker's in here too. I know you probably can't see her. I don't know if you want that.
Oh, perfect. I do.
First, she came in, Emily.
Yes, Ms. Walker, if you're here, I'm seeing a limited view of participants right now. So if you are here, I'd
Emily,
love to
sorry.
have 7th grade.
Here.
Yeah, hi. Okay, lots of 7th grade updates and shout outs to share this week. We just came from our GLT meeting and we realized looking at our work tracker that not a single student has not submitted work this week. So we have 100% of students engaging with the content and submitting work for their classes, which is amazing. We're super proud of their effort, families' efforts, the whole team. We all know it takes a village to get there. We have a lot of cool offerings in our small groups that just started this week. Miss Buyones is doing a gymnastics small group, which sounds super fun. We have multiple book clubs, newspaper, diversity and inclusion, which are all open to the grade. And at least for newspaper, we're thinking about opening that up to multiple grades. So hopefully we can get a lot of kids across the school engaged in doing some fun academic enrichment. That's all.
Awesome. And still just want to shout out 7th grade math attendance. Today, 47 scholars showed up for 7th grade virtual math class at 9 a.m., which was an incredible, that's well over 50% of the grade. And so their numbers keep climbing with virtual attendance, and we're really, really proud of that. Now, Ms. McCullough, I will turn it over to you to just share some 8th grade highlights or shout outs from this week.
Yeah, 8th grade is killing it, especially with attendance, making sure they're marking themselves present every morning in the Google Attendance classroom. Today we got the attendance report. We only had 4 8th graders not mark themselves present. One swore she did, and then when she went back and looked and realized she did not. So yeah, 8th grade is being very optimistic. In College of Knowledge, we're trying to talk about the future and what they would like for the end of the year, talking about graduation and things like that, and prom. Work submission is up there as well. Girls are going to girls have started their new small groups this week. We have creative writing, we have a high school talk group, we have extra help with Mr. Mebalu, Mr. Patel, and things like that. And Miss Moore is doing her NY group that she started in the beginning of the year with 8th graders, and it's just finishing that up. So eighth graders are being very positive given everything. They have vocalized that, you know, this is the worst thing absolutely ever because they were looking towards graduation. But for the most part, they're being super optimistic and, you know, as positive as they can be. And, you know, I miss them bunches. I do. I really mean it when I say that. It's not just for show. It's surprisingly, I miss those eighth graders, those wonderful group of lovely children.
My eighth grade highlight this week was being able to be in eighth grade math class. And the coolest thing was to watch the girls engage with each other in the chat feed about the work. And so when one had a question that wasn't being addressed whole group, at the time, they were responding to each other. And Sarai Williams, at one point, I was like, hi, can someone, I was actually sending the message to the teachers in the chat feed, like, I think Jaylene has a question, if we can pause and just talk about it. And Sarai replied directly to me, like, I am answering her question right now. She will get it in just a moment. And I was like, okay, there we go. So it's just awesome to see what they've been able to do during this crazy time. They have adjusted just as like resiliently and quickly. And we know it's not easy. It's still all a work in progress, but it was just really cool to see that happen in math class this week. So academic updates. We are amidst the finalized conversations around the grading policy, another year of learning and trimester 2 report cards. I know that you all have been patiently awaiting some final answers on that and awaiting to get those records from us. And I know that a lot of you are like, and we're ready, here we go. So please know that this is coming. As I shared earlier in the week, the biggest thing right now for any student or parent to be concerned about in terms of progress and grading is to just make sure that students are attending every day. So going into Google Classroom, their attendance Google Classroom, and answering the attendance question every day before 4 p.m. The goal is that we have 100% of students do that. We're really proud that our attendance averages have been in the 90s, which is incredible, meaning that this system is working and girls are going in and answering the attendance question. But it's just really important. Step 1 in making sure that they remain on track and are continuing to make progress is that they're present and accounted for in virtual school. The other way or priority for students and families is for students to attend as many virtual classes as possible. I know I kind of went out of order on the slide deck here, but in terms of those of you saying, I want to make sure that my scholar's staying on track, I want to make sure that I don't have any, concerns about her, falling back. Attendance number 1, and then attending as many virtual classes as possible. We know it's not the case for every family that you can't have students attend every virtual class every day, but as many as they can, the better it's going to be. And then submitting their work every day. And we'll talk in just a second about just work submission to make sure that we're all on the same page there. So know that the grading policy is forthcoming, but that again, the 3 big things are make sure your scholar signs in every day so they're counted present, make sure they attend as many virtual classes as possible, and make sure that they're submitting their work every day. Other academic updates. So you should, by Friday, end of day, have received an invitation from all of your scholars' teachers to join their Google Classrooms. You're going to get more than 1 invitation because your scholar has a Google Classroom for each of their contents. So they have a math classroom, an ELA, history, science, and petals. If they're in 7th and 8th grade, they also have a college knowledge Google Classroom. But you are going to be receiving invitations via email to join the Google Classroom. Once you do that, you'll be able to have kind of the parent access to the classroom where teachers can send you updates on work, and you'll be able to click on the update and actually see the assignment that they're talking about. You will also get notification when student work is scored and returned to them virtually. Right now, in the interim, you can still see your scholars' scores on their work by looking at their Google Classroom. We previously shared a YouTube tutorial that showed how to do that. And we will link that YouTube video in the chat and reshare it in case you didn't see it, because you can log on now to your scholars Google Classroom and view their scored student work. I think I saw somebody's hand raised. I can't see it anymore, but if you raised your hand to ask a question, feel free to go ahead and come off mute.
I asked the question, but now I'm going into train.
Oh no.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna say it really quick, like, because I'm at work, so my daughter's basically doing it herself. I don't really have like time to be able to go into the Google Classroom and really like check.
Sure.
So what are your like advice on that?
Yeah, I totally understand. I would say what we can do is have your scholars point of contact work with you on whatever system is best, knowing you're balancing work and everything else. Some families like a summary email from their point of contact at the end of the week that just says like, here's what she missed, here's what she submitted, so that for parents who are balancing a lot, they get that one update in one place. So if that's something that you feel like would be helpful, just so that you get the updates, but it's not on the day-to-day, we can definitely work with your point of contact to make that happen. And I hope you heard that. I know you're underground and you may have lost connection. Ms. Lopez, will you just take note of that parent and scholar name so that we can make sure to follow up?
Yeah, it was Ms. Lopez, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Awesome. Whoops. Okay, so with the student work, again, we will reshare the YouTube video because you can go in now to see the student work that's been returned to them and their scores on that work. Students will be receiving back 2 pieces of scored student work per week in every class, except for Petals. In Petals, they'll receive their 1 piece of work if they submit it back. Is that Ariana in the background? I can't tell who was trying to hide from us. We see you and we miss you. Okay, so you should be able to do that, and we'll send out that tutorial. Live morning advisory is being offered 5 days a week for scholars. And so we really encourage your scholar to attend that at least 2 times per week. We would love for them to be able to join every day. We know that's not always possible. But their point of contact offers live morning advisory between 8:30 and 9. So their point of contact is live in a Google Meet just to start the day together, see how the girls are doing. It's also a chance for the girls to connect with one another, just in a social setting to start the day. And so we really encourage scholars to join at least 2 of those each week. And then the other update is that this week we launched co-taught classes in all content areas. So virtual co-teaching, we're really proud to say, is happening in all content areas. So when your scholar logs on for virtual class, teachers are able to split into smaller groups. They're able to respond to the chat feed and answer questions. And really kind of individualize the virtual learning as best we can as we learn and get better at what we're doing. So we're really excited that that started this week. And just to reiterate, the virtual classes, scholars should be attending as many as possible to stay on track with the work. What I don't want is for you to hear and internalize, oh my God, my child has to be on every single class every single day, and that's not possible. And they're going to be penalized. That isn't the case. We know that there has to be flexibility during this time. However, they should be attending as many as possible because that's where teachers are giving the direct instruction that's going to support them with their learning. If they cannot attend, teachers are posting the video of the Google Class, so of the instruction, is being posted in Google Classroom. So even if your scholar can only attend 2 classes a day or 3, they can always access the video of the class through Google Classroom. You heard Miss, our grade team leaders all reference that small groups have, for some students, started this week. So our mandated small groups for students with IEPs, those began in week 3. We're now in week 6. So those have been happening for the last 3 weeks. What we're excited about this week is that we're able to offer small group instruction to more scholars. The times for small groups, for mandated small groups, are 2 to 2:30, 2:30 to 3, and 4 to 4:30. So for your scholar, if she has an IEP, her teacher that teaches her small group should have already reached out this week about the shift in times. We've had really high attendance this week in the mandated small groups, which is great. The other type of small group that's happening is for students who don't have IEPs. It's not mandated. And as you heard some of the grade team leaders share out, it's a combination of academic support. So like if your scholar's struggling with the work, the teacher is going to reach out and say, hey, I want you to come join my small group at this time in the afternoon. Or it might be, hey, we're going to have a combination of math help and gymnastics. So the goal is to provide academic support, but also to provide enrichment for scholars so that they can just continue to engage with their teachers and with their fellow students. So again, it's academic support, it's also enrichment, and they happen in those blocks of time in the afternoon. Work submission reminders, just so that we're all on the same page. In week 7, so starting next week, science will be assigning work for scholars 5 days a week. This week, math is already assigning 5 assignments per week. So that was a shift. They were only getting 3 days of science and 4 days of math. But as of next week, there will be 5 assignments per week for both science and math for students in grades 5 through 8. Part of the reason for that is that we have started to teach new content in math. We don't want scholars to be behind on new content for their grade level, and in order to stay on track, we are providing 5 assignments per week. Friday's assignment is a review, but they still have something that they need to submit, which was a shift. For science, it's really important to us that our girls are able to take living environment regents in 8th grade. And so we need to make sure that as best as possible, we don't get too far behind with the new content that scholars are learning. And that's why science has also shifted to 5 assignments students are submitting per week. So it's 1 per day. There is now time, you'll see on the new schedule or the updated schedule that I emailed out on Sunday. We've built in time on Fridays for students to work on those science and math assignments, and office hours are still offered 5 days a week. And on Fridays, since there isn't science and math class, if they need help with that work, they have office hours from 2 to 3 to get help with that work. ELA and history will continue to just assign 4 assignments per week with a review assignment on Fridays. For Petals, scholars are getting 1 assignment per week for their trimester 3 Petals course that's assigned on Fridays. So just another reminder about work. In Google Classroom, where students are going to see the assignment, the work is due the day that it's assigned. So work that is posted and assigned for today, which is April 29th, is going to have a due date of April 29th. We know kids may need up till midnight. I hope they're not working at midnight. Do not let them be doing schoolwork that late. It's not good for their brain. We need them resting. But it is going to be due the day that it's assigned. We are, however, keeping the assignment open and giving a 2-week grace period for students to submit work late. We know families still need flexibility. Some students need to do work on the weekends. So for example, the work that is assigned this week, scholars have until next Friday to fully get those submitted. Our goal is that they do it the day it's assigned. We don't want them waiting, we don't want them procrastinating, and we don't want work building up. We also want there to be flexibility for families who need it. So there is a grace period of those 2 weeks where the assignment will stay open for scholars to be able to submit. Look at that. I'm ahead of myself. I didn't even realize I'd included this slide here, which is great. So you'll already get it. This is the YouTube tutorial from Mr. Jorian, along with a 1-pager that explains exactly how you can view and how your scholar can view their scores in Google Classroom. Our student intent to return window is open. And so intent to return is really, really important because it's our process of confirming if families plan to return to our school for the following year. It really helps provide critical data to our enrollment team as we try to estimate how many students are going to come back, how many open seats that we're going to have for the next year. So there is a form that you should have received via Kenvo. It should have gone out to you via Kenvo on Monday and also again tomorrow, Thursday. It also would have been sent in an email on Tuesday, would have come from the someone at the public prep office. And so this is just a reminder, if you haven't gotten that form, please just drop a note in the chat so that we can make sure to get it to you. And we just ask that all families, to the best of your ability, share this information with us. We know things change last minute. Sometimes people have to move or they make a shift. But as best as you can share your plans for next year. We hope 100% of our scholars return. That's our goal. That's what we want. But if that's not the case, it's also helpful information for us just in terms of planning. So again, if you didn't receive it, please just drop your name in the chat. You'll also be able to access this form when I email out the slide deck to everyone immediately following our Zoom chat. Spirit Week's in full effect. I don't just wear wacky hats for fun. Sometimes, maybe I do. Really cute pictures in here of one of our 8th graders rocking her hat on Crazy Hat Day. Also just Miss Natalie with spirit, just being full of spirit, because she always is. So just a reminder, we hope that all scholars participate. Today was Wacky Wednesday, tomorrow's Denim Day, and then Friday is Fresh Friday, Dress to Impress. Ms. Lopez, do you want to come off mute and just talk a little bit about Denim Day?
I think, sure. I was looking for the mute on the Google Meet, which is in the middle, and this mute is on the left. Throws me out. So tomorrow is technically was today. If you have social media, you may have seen the hashtag Denim Day for today. It is an honoring a social justice movement about a trial in Italy in 1999 where a young girl was raped. And in part of the trial, the statements were that if her jeans weren't so tight, then it wouldn't have happened. It is unfortunate that there are people like that think this way in the world. But it is a common thing time and time again that women are told what to wear and how to wear to not provoke or to not be seen instead of expressing individuality. So over at the Bronx Middle School, it's actually something they've been doing for a couple of years, and meeting with the SFA team over there and picking these theme days. She's like, well, we do Denim Day for this. And I was like, wow, that's great. I've never heard of that before. So I linked in the actual website. It'll take you to the website of the foundation that started this movement. This is actually the 20-year anniversary, I believe. It was like 1999. They're celebrating. They've been doing this for years now. So denim shirts, denim jean jackets, denim, I don't know, whatever denim you come up with. encouraging everyone to get out of the sweats and the pajamas and get into jeans. Ms. Strong will tell you that I tell her and encourage most staff to wear jeans at least once a week so that we remember how much we weigh and if we still fit in them. It's a great accountability measure. So keep wearing your jeans even though you're at home. Trust me.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but jeans are not, not on the top of my comfy at-home dress list, but I do appreciate Ms. Lopez always having everyone's health and wellness in mind, and obviously Denim Day supporting the cause and raising awareness for that. I will clearly participate in, but my stretchy pants are really saving the day right now.
I do have a plug. All of your students should have gotten this email from me about an hour ago. So just, there's other adults on this call, so I don't want to blow up the surprise, but check your students' email. I requested something of them just to make sure you guys approve, nothing crazy. But there's adults on this, so I don't want to give it away. So ask your child. Got an email from me about an hour ago. Hey, Ms. Lopez told me she emailed you. What's up?
Awesome. And then this was something that came up on the Facebook Live on Monday. And so we want to be responsive as quickly as we can. This Friday, instead of doing the 11:30 Facebook Live, we will do another Zoom meet, and it will be with Miss George, our social worker. She's going to come on, and this meet is going to specifically be to talk about tools for the social emotional support of scholars during what we know is a really crazy and stressful time. She also has great strategies and tips for how we as the adults in their lives can help manage our own stress during this time and take care of our own mental health. And so she's going to join us at 11:30. She emailed a Google form to all families to get your input ahead of time on what topics it would be helpful to cover. We really want to make sure we tailor the session to exactly what you need and the experiences that you're having. So please be on the lookout for that email. And if you plan to join, or even if you can't join, but you have some ideas of what we should cover, it'd be really helpful if you could share those in the form that she sent over. The other request on Monday that we're going to be putting together is just a Zoom call specifically with our grade team leaders and other teachers so that you can just come on and ask content specific questions. So what is going on with this assignment? What is going on with this thing? And to have more FaceTime and Q&A with our teachers. So know that we are putting that together, and there will be more to come about that next week. And with that, we are at the Q&A. I thought I had a Q&A slide here. Apparently I left it off. But at this point, we just want to have anyone in these last few minutes that we have. I'd ask you start with any questions that you have of our grade team leaders, because I know some of them have to hop off the call. So if there are any grade team leader specific questions that you want to come off mute and ask, we can start with those. And then we'll just open the floor to any questions that you have that weren't covered in today's presentation.
I have a question about eighth grade graduation. Any plans or any thoughts about if or when it will be done?
Sure, we actually just got off look at us, Ms. McCullough, just in sync. My bad, you can do it. Go ahead. I saw you take the big breath. Go.
Nah, I was just gonna tell her we was gonna have graduation without Denaya, and we were just gonna go ahead and just go, you know, she's that's where it's at. You can let her know she got to come back next year and do it all over again. And we'll be there. But yes, me and Ms. Lopez were on a call with Ms. George talking about some options. As you know, we're in a little rut right now and not sure if we're coming back. But what we decided was we would actually love to hear from the girls. I think it's their graduation. I think they should have a voice in everything that's going on. So Friday in College and Knowledge, we're going to kind of run it together to hear the girls' feedback, talking about graduation, talking about prom, talking about all those things that's, supposed to be in the process of doing right now to celebrate the class of 2021. So probably after Friday, I will be reaching out to families next week on next steps, ideas, feedback, and also we'll have a segment, just like Ms. Strong said, to hear parents' feedbacks and some ideas they may have next week in our Zoom chat.
Sounds good.
Yeah, we want to take into accountability. We have different girls, they like to do different things. It's already like difficult enough to get some of them to do some stuff in person. Like some of them will be like, Anise, I'm gonna jump right on stage. This is the mic, I'm doing it. And then we have Katie. Yeah, right. I'm not doing it around adults. You're crazy. Like, I'm gonna go dance in the corner by myself. Like, so we just want to make sure that we come up with something creative that's not just your typical like, let's all get on Zoom and dance, but what can we do that really celebrates them, right? So including, for those of you that have had students of ours in the past, we do an annual like slideshow with pictures and videos that I have 1 million of in here. Like they just love taking pictures and they know that I'm gonna use it. Including that slideshow, including some activities for those of us that are not the best dancers like myself, and some of us that are the best dancers like Miss McCalla. Yes. So you know how to make it versatile, make it a watch party. Miss Rivera, I see you over there. Yes, you too with the dance moves, I know. And then making it as close to home as possible. But again, coming up with options in terms of like what's realistic and being realistic with the girls and what can we dream about, right? Like let's still dream that we can get into the same state. I don't want to let that go yet. So
I'm just gonna go ahead and think it was an oversight that I wasn't named in the best dancers part. So we're gonna go.
No, it was not an oversight, Ms. Strong. Not at all. Not at all.
I have a video of her dancing, so I can definitely send that in.
I got a couple videos of her dancing.
Okay. All right.
The kids are here.
Everybody better settle down here. Settle down. Ms. Reeves, go ahead. If you want to take yourself off mute, raise your hand.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I just want to give a shout out to Girls Prep Lower East Side Middle School. I'm not sure if the whole public prep network is just as organized as you guys are, but just speaking with other parents that I know in the public education, public prep is like Girls Prep Lower East Side Middle School has been exceptional with this whole remote learning. The whole process with the girls is wonderful. Dakota, to me, has been engaged every day. She wakes up at 8:30. She's always in every classroom, every video conference. I think she's more involved in school now than she is or was while you guys were in school. So I just want to say I appreciate all of you and thank you for this. I just have one request. I did email Ms. Lopez about seeing the grades for the work. I do see that you guys are going to have that access for us starting Friday. I was able to go on Dakota's Google Classroom and see each grade that she has received on her assignments, but only one class had the overall average, which was science, which I'm happy to say is 96%. Yay, Dakota. But I don't see an overall average for any of the other grades. So could the other teachers also have that listed for each grade, each classroom?
Absolutely. First of all, thank you so much for the vote of support. We are doing everything in partnership with you all. Parents have been super helpful along the way, giving us feedback, helping us get better, telling us what's working. And we appreciate that very much. The teachers are really coming with such great ideas. They're thinking about your girls every day and how we can make this as good of an experience as possible. So we really appreciate that. And we can definitely, our grade team leaders, who I swear have solutions for everything, are already on it in the chat to figure out how to make that happen for the rest of the Google Classrooms. So we'll make sure that we get that set up, and then we'll share that information with the rest of teachers so that that's happening across the board, so that parents can see those cumulative averages. Thank you for flagging that. And please tell Dakota, I'm sure she's also got some incredible artwork going, because I'm sure she's doing all, so we need to see some of that pretty soon. Also, if there was anyone that put a question in the chat that we weren't able to resolve, you're welcome to come off of mute and reshare that question in the chat so we can make sure that we catch all of those.
Ms. Kennedy had a question about when the students will be able to see the Serena Williams video. I didn't have an answer, so I didn't write it, Ms. Kennedy.
Oh, that's a great question. And as soon as we get it out there, we got it this morning, so I think it'd be really awesome. We'll have teachers be able to show it in morning advisory, and then we'll email it out for students who can't come to advisory to see it, because that was, again, highlight of my day. I'm sure it will be for them too. Anybody has connections to Michelle Obama, please let us know. We are going to get her doggone it. It's the last thing we do. Gonna get her. I think she knows Serena. There's got to be a connection. We're working on it. Yes, Billie Jean King, exactly. She should be able to get us access to Mo. I mean, I know Michelle Obama has a busy schedule. I can only imagine. She just doesn't realize that she wants to be our best friend. She just doesn't know it yet, but I'm sure she will figure that out pretty soon.
I did read Michelle Obama's doing some read aloud stuff. Once I get like the information and the actual link on that, but I did see a posting, an article about her doing some read along. Hopefully it's not just for like more little kids, but I'm not a little kid, even though I look like one, and I'll sit in her read along. So once I get that, I will also share that.
Awesome. Yes. So for graduation, I saw that just popped up. We are working on a plan, both an in-person plan and a remote plan. Ms. Lopez and Ms. McCalla are on it. The next step is to get student input into what they would like to see, and to have their voice in it. And then once we know a little bit more specifically about our closure, and exactly when we will return, we'll be able to share all of those details with everyone. But it's on our mind.
I have a question about the grading scale. Are we going to continue with what we're currently doing? I could have sworn I saw that New York City for K-8 is doing like a pass or fail or something along those lines as far as grades.
Yeah, great question. So that is something that we're working on right now, the grading policy. We will be in alignment with the guidance from New York State. So one of the reasons we've been a little delayed in getting everyone report cards and grading policy is because we want to make sure that we are following all of the guidelines that we get for that. And so we'll be able to release the official kind of grading policy after this week. My hope is that it's finalized for next week. But we know that it may end up looking like a pass-fail situation. But even if that is the case, we want to make sure we can share for families like exactly how that would be calculated, right? Because we want to make sure that you have all the information to know what would a pass or a fail look like. What you will see in Google Classroom, the scores on student work will be as Ms. Reeves highlighted, we'll make sure that that ends up with like a numeric average, right? So you can see accuracy where they are. But there is a chance, a high probability that the way that we grade our grading policy in trimester 3 looks is different, just given the circumstances, and wanting to make sure that we're as responsive as possible to the needs of the community, while holding students accountable for the work, but being realistic about, you know, where we are. It's also, there's been a change statewide for how attendance, and because state tests are suspended for this year, how they are not going to have that count against scholars in the high school application process, and not have it count against scholars in any way going into next year, because they know that, again, this is kind of this is an unprecedented situation that is going to make even next year look different for us.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, good evening. So, as far as academics, I know for Zanaya, because I'm in and out a lot, and when I do see emails, I'm doing 2 children back and forth. Some stuff will be missing, some stuff will be handed in. When I do check, like for now, we seeing how you told me how to go in the Google Classroom, I was able to go in and see that she's missing English. And for her to respond for her ELA, it's something called Cami, but when she click on it, she can't respond. So my response to her was, read it and then email the teacher directly your answer, so that way there's no excuse for it to say you didn't get a chance to do it because you didn't understand. Because if you don't ask, you don't say anything. When I come in and I ask you, you know, I'm going to trust you. You did your work? Yes, I did my work. Okay, did you do the math? She'll show me submit, submit, submit. But then there's prior stuff that I just see for myself that is missing, and those are the Cami work. So she's emailing Miss Elo for ELA, right? Miss Nilo right now while we're speaking, to make sure she catch up on all those work. But for us, as far as like you said, grading wise, it's gauging our children. I took advantage of the frog tutoring. So Zelly, my youngest, is doing science and math, and Zanaya is also doing math and chemistry, and I think physical science. And in that, so I try to incorporate it while she's in school, because I know that I realize you guys now have a set schedule for them. Before, it was like she could log in at her time, but now I try to keep her on that schedule. I slow down going out to do extra deliveries for work and going in so I can be present, because I realize you trust them to go out. When you come back in, the work is not being done and they're still on the computer all hours of the night. So once I realized that, I had to put everything on hold temporarily so I can focus here, because we won't be able to really tell where they're at gauging wise with their academics. And, you know, and I tell them, you know, take advantage of the free tutoring, take advantage of everything, because it helps you to keep you abreast with what's going on, because you don't know how we're going to be grading these children moving forward. For her, how is it going to be? Are they going to move to 7th grade without the exams, or it's only dependent on their grade? I tell her, signing in every day, this is technically your attendance, so you're being accountable for this. So you got to be able to, you know, be held responsible for this. Get up and do what you have to do. But I want to know, as far as them, when they come into like grading and kind of gauging your children to see that they're still on track, they're not falling behind. And I'll be honest, some of the work is like foreign. You know, I go on YouTube and let it break it down and watch videos and stuff, so I can understand and really be engaged as much as possible with them.
Absolutely. And I think everything you said is the right move. We know that parents are balancing more than we can imagine and trying to work, some in the house, some out of the house, in keeping kids accountable. And you didn't go to school to be a teacher. No one expects you all to be able to balance full-time work and homeschool teaching, right? It is different than it was. It's different than it was when I was in school. So I totally understand that. And so part of what we're doing in our reentry planning and our planning right now is thinking about, in the absence of those, you know, state tests, no, virtual learning is different, right? And some students aren't going to grasp the concepts as easy that way. How do we, what type of an assessment can we use even this year virtually to see how scholars are progressing and where there are gaps? And then how do we use that information to plan for next year to plan to make sure that we don't let this amount of time where student learning is being impacted set them back long term. And so I think that the good news is, as educators, our teachers every day, all day, are thinking about how can I tell if students are getting it? What do I do about it now? And so know that we feel that responsibility very strongly, and all of our planning right now is going to be on how do we figure out where they are by the end of the year, and then what are we going to do about it? Because what we won't do is allow the gap to, to stay that way. We know that it might mean we have to make some shifts in thinking about our summer work. It might mean we have to make some shifts in thinking about how we work the school year. But know that we are in it with you, and that once we have the assessment plan down, again, not an assessment in like a punitive way, an assessment in terms of progress monitoring, just knowing where they are and what gaps may exist. We'll be sharing that plan with you because it's currently very much under works and very much top of mind. I'd love for you though to say that tutoring place again, or to type it in the chat just for other families.
Sure, Frog Tutoring. I'm gonna go get the link and copy it like I did at the other meeting and put it here. It's actually really, really good. Zanaya, surprisingly, she likes it. When she first started, she didn't want to. She was very apprehensive. She was only student at first. It's like 2 or 3 students in a class so far that she's been in, which is really good. So she gets to ask the questions and where she's at, and she was fully engaged. Yeah, and they give homework and stuff, so it's really good. And Azalea, she's doing science, and she's in 4th grade. I tried to push her up in the 8th grade math because I was like, I wanted to kind of push her because I know she's strong in math, but the math teacher was like, no, because, that's a whole year ahead, and she might not know, so which was fine. So I signed her in the 7th grade math anyway, to still be doing math, even though that's her strong point. I was looking for ELA, which I didn't see they have, but they did have history. So far, she signed up for science and I think math. But I'm gonna go get the link right now and come back to you guys and send it to you.
That would be awesome. Thank you so much. And I saw, Miss O'Neill, I definitely see your concern over grades and affecting kids who have been on the honor roll. I think that like one of the hardest parts about all of this is like, we're building the plane as we're flying somewhat in terms of figuring out what does this all look like. The comforting piece, if there is comfort in it, is that we're not alone in the fact that like this is impacting kids across the country. And so our network is looking at what are the best practices that are coming up in all sectors. Our superintendent actually was able to just sit on a panel and share best practices with other charter school leaders for how we've tried to roll out things with remote learning, so we can share those practices with others and also learn what are other places doing when it comes to the grading policies, when it comes to just best practices at this time. So I hear you on that completely. And I think, again, not having all the concrete information of exactly how all this is going to roll out, I know leads to even more kind of anxiety. But know that we're in it with you. We know 100% that we want to minimize any negative impact that this has on our girls, on your girls, who we consider our girls as well. And so the moment we have more info, that I will make sure that you all have that info too. And we'll make sure that we're doing everything we can again, to minimize any sort of negative impact and make sure that students get every possible option that they can during this time. Yes, ma'am. Daphne, I see your hand up.
Hi. You had mentioned, I know different schools are doing different things. My nephew is homeschooled, but he's in high school, so I don't know if this would work on your end. But they have class. It's like a Zoom, like we're sitting right here, and the teachers rotate. So they literally show up at 9 a.m. They got to be there, and they take attendance that way. They got to show up at 9 a.m. If they're marked late, if they get into the Zoom call late, they do their work. The teacher literally in his house is teaching 34 students on Zoom, and that's how they communicate. And then whoever needs, they switch out the teachers, and then they have like a separate hour for people who were struggling, or they kind of separated. So that's how they're doing it. So I don't know if that's something that might work for you guys. We don't know how long this is going to be, but just letting you know how other schools are doing it.
That's definitely super helpful, because I think, as you said, we're not sure how long this is going to be, and so we're going to continue to evolve and grow and get better at practices, trying to roll changes out as slowly as possible for you all, because we know we all need some consistency. But please keep those best practices coming as you hear about or see other things that are working. Like, we get better based on your feedback, and whenever parents send feedback about this is working or this isn't working, we really take that into account and try to be as responsive as possible and making shifts. So appreciate you sharing that and continuing to keep those tips coming, so that as we are doing our planning, we're able to incorporate all of that information. Really appreciate it. So I know that we are over on time, and I want to be able to respond to everyone's questions. I'm happy to hang back for a couple more minutes. I know the rest of my team probably needs to sign off, and for other families that need to go, want to be able to say an official bye. I see lots of hands. Joanne, it's good to see you again. Tell Esther we said hi. We miss them. Please give your scholars a hug for us, because I swear I'm going to give the most socially distanced hugs. I don't even know what it looks like yet, but there's going to be a lot of the moment that we're cleared to do it. So have a great rest of your night. Again, I'll hang back for a couple more minutes if there are any lingering questions. But thank you again for everything you're doing. We appreciate your partnership and your trust. We love your girls. Tell them hello.
Bye, Anise, Paula.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. My best friend.
Stay
safe. Everybody stay strong.
You
too. I have a question for you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so this is about the second trimester science. I understand that, who was the science teacher? It was right now. No, for the second trimester. Last year. No, not last year. No. Okay, well, the science teacher for the second trimester, I understand she's no longer with us. But Dakota's grade wasn't that great. How is that going to affect her for the whole school year? Because I'm hoping that it doesn't cause her to have another year of learning. I'm hoping her third trimester average offsets that. But I just know with Miss Miss Garcia went on maternity leave, and then the other science teacher wasn't there for too long. So I think Dakota ended the trimester with a D, and which is not good for me. You guys know me when it comes to Dakota's grades. So, I couldn't speak to the other science teacher about Dakota being able to make that up, because of course she was no longer there. So how would that affect Dakota for the year?
Yeah, that's a really great question. So I think, for one thing, Dakota's already back up at a 96% average in science. We see she's already getting back where she needs to be. And we're excited that Miss Ramsami's joined in 7th grade and be on with us for science both this year and next year. So in terms of what will impact her, I can go in and look specifically, and you and I can have like a one-on-one when I look at Dakota's grade book and see what it was, right? What was getting it? Was it missing work from, the teacher change, or what it was? But what I will say is it shouldn't be something that you're concerned about for another year of learning. That trimester in and of itself would not be anything that holds her back in a major way. When I think about another year, this year it's different than it normally would anyway, because we're in the closure. But one trimester's worth of assessment would not be anything that holds her back. And in fact, for high school applications, having a rough trimester and then a really good trimester actually tells the story that we want to tell, which is that our girls, they can come from have a slip up and then bounce back from it. So I wouldn't be concerned about implications, but I'm happy to look at the grade book specifically and just shoot you one-on-one email just to see what I see in there.
Okay, I think it was a teacher issue only because Ms. Garcia left and a new teacher that came. I'm not sure how that worked out because I did put the quota in tutoring, and the second trimester to me was like her best. She had nothing but A's and B's except for science. So I'm not sure if the teacher transitioning is what affected all of that.
Yeah,
So
it was. 'Cause I remember we spoke about it as well in terms of her science, and I Miss Mrs. Golio was working on what happened, and then all of this took place, so we didn't get to finish processing that. So Miss Golio was aware because Miss Reed had reached out to us very early and let us know that that was going on with science. So yeah, I was aware.
Thank you so much.
You were the fairy.
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah.
There was another question.
Can you move your phone, please, Ava?
What?
You. Thank you.
Yep.
There was another question in regards to like, are we going to assess students when we get back to gauge where they are?
I'm done.
So
I'm done.
I know that's a general question for all parents, like to know like, are we doing that? What's the process and stuff?
And to just add to Ms. Lopez, I've been in contact with a few high schools. With this taking place and them thinking long-term, a lot of them may be doing assessments as students are coming into their 9th grade school year to better have a better feel for their like ELA, math, science. Hopefully next year we're up and running with our living environments and algebra regions. 8th graders this year, this affected them in the worst way, but high schools are thinking about like a year and 2 years out with not having state test results is a big thing. So there are a lot of factors. A lot of them have expressed that some of them may be teacher recommendations also as part of the high school process, just to feel for more of the student and who they are.
Yeah. And
I would like to ask a question.
Oh yeah, sorry. In terms of the assessment piece, we will definitely be, that's part of like our planning right now, is what does virtual assessment look like? So we want to make sure that we're able to know even now, not only with student work, how they're doing, but with our like reading and math assessments, what progress are students making. We don't have it fully finalized yet because again, assessments in a virtual world is something that we're learning more about, but it is, we just attended some sessions last week on different ways to do some one-on-one assessments of students. So more information about that will be coming even through this year so that going into the summer, we can share with families, here's where your scholar is, here's what we think should happen over the summer, and here's what we're gonna do when we get back in August. And then when we start in, whenever we do return back in the building, we will 100% be doing kind of some baseline assessments of students because again, we wanna know where they are coming in. And the good news to take hopefully a load off of parents' shoulders is one thing teachers are really, really great at is figuring out how to close gaps for kids. They do it all the time. We've had students come in 2, 3, 4 reading levels behind where they should and surpass that within a year of targeted instruction. So we will ensure that we A, get an accurate understanding of where they are, and B, we've got the best people in the world on the job. Our teachers are fully equipped to make sure that we close those gaps. So please don't feel like you're in it on your own or you've got to figure out some way to make sure, like we're your partners in it, make sure that they're doing their reading and they're coming to class, but we will make sure that we've got a plan to get them caught up because again, that's something teachers are really, really good at and something we know is gonna have to be a #1 priority next year as we, bounce back from this current state. Ms. McCullough, I could see you trying to give me the word I was looking for mentally and it wasn't coming through. Thank you for that support.
Is the goal for this year to try to get in all of the pre-planned lessons and topics and units by the end of the year? Is that like what we're aiming for, I should say?
Yeah, it's definitely what we're aiming for, particularly in terms of new content in math and science. The way it works in ELA is basically students have already been taught and been practicing all the standards all year long. they don't have to learn new content in ELA. They have to keep practicing the skills and the standards that they've been working on all year. With math and science, there is new content we're teaching. And so our goal is to make sure that we have taught all the new content and that we've paced it out so that there's time for review even before the end of this year. With history, we're also working too, when we think about the skills, they're continuing to practice the reading and writing skills they've been doing all year. And history teachers are moving forward with content so that we can keep students on track to be able, because our history curriculum is vertically aligned. So things that they do in 6th grade build off of what they did in 5th grade. And so our goal is to teach that new content. If we find with our scope and sequence that it doesn't happen, the great news is our history team of teachers is meeting every week to think about what adjustments would need to be made so that if they don't get something in at the end of one year, we've got a plan to build that in into the launch of the next year. Long answer, but yes, the goal is that we get all new content covered before we go into next year. Awesome. Ms. Lopez, were there any other questions in the chat that we missed?
Can I ask a question?
Hi, sure. Is this Ava Thompson? Who am I seeing?
Ava Thompson.
I wanted to ask a question.
Oh, it is Ava Thompson. Hello. Please ask that question.
Hi, Ms. Strong.
Hi, Ava.
I wanted to ask for petals. Do I only do my petals because I see like other petals and stuff?
So here's the thing. You can do all the petals if you want to do all the petals. Prioritize doing your trimester 3 petals class first, right? Because that's your trimester 3 petals class. But then if you want to do the work for another petals class too, you 100% can. So our petals teachers are posting assignments for kids in every grade because we want you to have access to it. But start with your trimester 3 petals class first. Then you can go and do the other petal.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Strong, stop.
Yes,
Ms. Strong, one more question. So I told her that it's very important to join as much class as she can in the morning. And she said it's not mandatory. Can you please tell her, since you're here, that it's important to join as much class as possible?
Ava Thompson.
Yes.
It is super important that number one, you do everything your mother tells you to do because she's your mother. Everything she says is gold. And number two, yes, get your body up in the morning, get to morning advisory, and go to as many virtual classes as you possibly can.
Yeah.
Mind that they're required, right? That's what you should be thinking in your mind, because if you've got access to it, it is required for you. So yes, your mother is completely right. 100%.
Okay, but when I went to history's office hours from 1 to 2 for the small group, right? Miss Walker texted my mom again, talking about going to office hours from 2:30 to something, right? And then she kept telling me to go on it. I was like, I already went. And then I told her I had already did all my work and I read for 1 hour. And she told me, you should not be done right now. You should not be done. You should be doing something else like reading or something.
Well, she's 100% right. You should be doing something else like reading. Come on.
I was reading for an hour.
Okay, that's fair. But from 1 to 2 is history class. And then office hours and small group are in that between 2 and 3. So you should be able to go to both. Because if Miss Walker is texting mom saying you need to go to small group, that's because there's something they're going to do in that small group that she wants you to be a part of. And you don't even know, it could be something cool. It could be like a raffle for $1 million and you missed it because you didn't show up today.
I did go to small group.
No.
Okay, good. Then you didn't miss it. The raffle's later in the
I didn't go to the office hours because I went to small group and I finished the work there.
Great. So the big idea is you got to go to class and you should go to small group. And if your mom says you should be reading, you should find some book in the house and pick it up and read it because she is correct.
Yeah, but aren't you only supposed to read for half an hour? And I read for a full hour.
You are supposed to read as much as you can and stretch out your brain and practice. And most importantly, if your mother is telling you to do it, you better do it. And
Yeah, because
is while you're
she
at it,
think
just to
I'm
help her out.
annoying.
I never said you were annoying.
Yeah. Thank you, Miss Strong, for letting her know. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
All right.
Have a good night.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
That was funny. But just one last thing, you guys. Speaking of petals, Dakota wanted me to show off one very detailed artwork that she did. She pulls up stuff off of the website and she just redraws it by sight. She doesn't trace, she does it on her own. I love it. It's a skeleton. Like, this is very detailed, and she literally just did this on her own by sight. There's no tracing. She pulled up a picture, and I just love it. I really love it. Her mind is a little weird, so don't mind that it is a skeleton, a crazy skeleton, but I just love the fact that she's just taking the time to, draw on her own. And of course, a diamond in the rough. That's what my child is, a diamond in the rough. So she wanted me to show off some of her work.
Those are amazing. She's really, she doesn't give up on the practice. She's getting better and better. That is incredible.
You just have to get her to practice her handstand. Then she'll be really good.
Oh, you know what? Miss Biones, as Miss Strong mentioned, is doing the gymnastic class, and Dakota is the one that suggested that. So thanks to you, Miss Yolanda. She's working on it.
That is amazing.
Dakota is a part of it, and she's doing her handstand. She actually sent me a picture of what she tried to do. Her legs is all crooked, but she's on her head.
Oh my God, so good for her. Please keep showing the drawings. That's incredible. She's got some talent. She really does. Really does.
Everything that she submits for artwork is her own. I mean, she takes the pictures from the website, but she draws it on her own. I'm just trying to get her own creative mind to come out on her own, but she can literally draw from sight. And she just tells mommy, you just gotta see, just gotta look at it and see it. And I'm like, baby girl, mommy's not an artist. You get that from your daddy, but it's okay.
Exactly. That doesn't work for me either. Miss Lopez, I see your hands up.
Regarding the BEAM and TEAK program, Ariana applied to both of them. She got accepted for the BEAM and waiting for the TEAK to give us for the TEAK. Yes, Ariana. The TEAK program. Anyway, the reason why I'm asking is that I'm concerned about her grades, and she might not qualify to go in it because of this. We're just concerned about that.
Her grades are fine for TEAK. Do not worry about it. They are understanding that this is a virtual semester. You both were worried about a trimester too, and she was perfectly fine, and she did amazing. I am not worried about Ariana. She will be perfectly fine for trimester 3. I am in contact with TEAK. So do not worry about it. Just, I don't know if she had her virtual interview yet. Did she do that already?
Yes, did everything.
Okay, yeah, do not worry about it. They will not use this trimester to hold against her. So they're gonna go off of everything that they have already. The only thing they may reach out for is maybe like another recommendation letter in terms of like her work ethic for this trimester. But either way, she's fine, don't worry about it. Hopefully we'll be hearing back soon in regards to her status.
Okay, another question. Ariana usually goes once a week to Miss George. I'm just wondering, is she not going to be continuing to see Miss George?
Yes. So if she was seeing Miss George during the school year when we were in the building, then she should also be seeing Miss George now virtually. And Miss George was reaching out to set up, schedule those times with families. So if you haven't heard from her yet, we'll follow up. But that should be continuing for Ariana if she was seeing Miss George at school.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely. And please tell Ariana, I know she was hiding from us, but she wrote the most thoughtful email. She wrote me the most thoughtful email last week saying thank you to her teachers for their support. And it was so just like beautiful. I shared it with the staff. Her teachers really appreciated it. So just shouting her out. I know she's hiding from me, but Ariana, I see you face to face. Remember, this is another face to face. I see you back. And thank you for taking the time to write that email, Ariana. It was really nice.
Thank you so much. I appreciate
Absolutely.
every one of you guys.
Absolutely. We appreciate you. Well, folks, I am going to need to sign off of here and head on to my last call of the day here in just a couple minutes. But I will be back. We will all be back on the Zoom on Friday at 11:30 a.m. Miss George will be there. And then we'll be sharing out the meeting times for next week as well. I'm going to continue to have the live Zoom every week for families, and then 2 other opportunities. It'll either be Facebook Live or I'll be sharing out a video recorded message. So you should be getting at least 3 opportunities to ask and answer questions every week. But if you have a question that comes up and you can't wait till we get back on together, feel free to email and we are happy to respond and get you the information that you need. So I hope everyone has a great rest of the night. See you, Victoria. It's good to see your face. And Jordae's twin over there, Jordae's mom.
How are you guys doing? I'm sorry, I just got off of work. I was listening and driving.
No, we appreciate it. We're glad you could join. Please tell Jordae we said hi. Oh, hi.
I will.
We see you. And tell Jasmine we said hi. I see you down there, Miss Sally. Hello. Tell her we said hi.
Hi, Jazzy.
Jazzy Fresh, we know you hear us. All right, bye everyone. Have a great night. Thanks again for
Have a good evening, guys.
Thank you.
Have a good night.